Hello everybody, I'm Kate Fogger and with me is Julie Hart and we are making light to humans being. So this week's episode is a conundrum for me. I'm hoping Julie can help me unpick it. It's a law of attraction type conundrum where the rubber hits the road and stuff actually happens and you go, well, why is this actually happening? And so there's a resistance in me to share it because I don't want to make it into a thing, but it is becoming a thing. So I'm hoping that Julie will help me pick through it, really, to work out what's actually going on. So welcome everybody. Yeah, let's do it. I was going to say all the stuff about following us on Facebook, but we'll do that at the end. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter. No, we're not on Twitter. No. Oh, there was some resistance. Okay, so here's my question is, law of attraction says that whatever is presented to you is as a result, everything that you experience is as a result of what's going on in your vibration. Agreed?
Agreed.
And that if you don't know how you're feeling, you can wait for it to show up and the universe will show you how you're feeling. Okay?
Yeah.
Then there's this other school of thought, and I'm not saying they're separate, but there is another school of thought that says everything that happens for a reason, as in there is no such, that when things show up that are maybe unwanted or whatever, that quite often things work out maybe in a different way than you expected, but that there's quite often some benefit or some unseen advantage to what's happened, and that you should be open to. So this, I guess, is practicing acceptance of whatever happens. So on the one hand, I totally understand that accepting what is actually in front of you, regardless of what happens, has got to be a good thing, because in accepting what happens, you are dropping resistance to everything. So everything's got to get, or you're dropping resistance to something anyway. So everything has got to get better. I mean, when Abraham talks about having a number of sticks, and on each stick, every subject has two ends to it. So on the one, like one stick, the money stick will have, on one end you'll have abundance, on the other end you'll have absence of money. Now, and same with everything. And she's saying, like, it doesn't matter which stick you pick up, if you can get to the right end of that stick, then you'll get to the right end of all the sticks. So, and in saying that, she uses that example, I say she, he, they, she, Esther, says that if you can, if you have a bugbear about abundance, stay off the money topic, love your garden, I think is the example she uses, get on the right end of the stick of your garden. You don't have to, so this is the other important thing, you don't have to attack the money stick in order to make things better. You're actually better not rattling the money stick if you've got issues around it. So you find something that is less contentious for you, like your garden, and get on the right end of that stick, and all sticks will be better. I think that's sort of some of it. So I don't want to draw attention to this issue because I don't want to make it into something. But so here's the thing. I have, since I opened the guest house, and what a tumultuous relationship I've had with the shed, as I call it. It has been enormously successful. I have been rammed from the day I've opened, basically, that I actually shut this year for 4 months because I was like, I don't, I can afford not to work over those 4 months, because when the bookings get spotty, it's actually it's more disruptive because I don't know when people are coming. Whereas when I'm rammed, at least I have a timetable. I know when people are coming, I can work around it and fit my other business around it. And I have hummed and hard for 2 years about not wanting to do the shed, not wanting to do this, not wanting to have people on property, all of this. And yet I have been like jam-packed from about June till October, pretty much jammed. And then it starts to tail off in November. I get weekends only. And actually all over Christmas I had been really busy, except I had a really long booking and they cancelled and it didn't refill, which is not surprising because people don't plan, anyway, it's done really, really well despite my resistance to doing it all. And so here's the other point. I do understand that resistance in one area doesn't necessarily manifest in that area. I do understand that. It's like what she says about the money stick. It doesn't, if I have a resistance to money, that's not necessarily going to show up on the money stick. It will show up as resistance to abundance in some other form. Maybe abundance isn't a great example there, but so this year I stayed shut until the end of April, which was through choice, whereas the last 2 years I have been shut by the government because of COVID. So I've literally had to open, and the diary is open same day sort of thing. It's like I haven't had any advanced bookings because we didn't know when it was going to happen. I only had like a week's notice that they were actually lifting the travel ban. And this year I've had my diary open and nothing. So I've got about 8 or 9 bookings, I think, overall.
Mhm.
I've had one booking, been and gone, and I've got a 2-week stint free. Someone else is coming this weekend, and then I've got about 4 or 5 other bookings, and I don't know what to think, Julie, because I have now come around to acceptance that the shed's actually a pretty good deal for me. It does allow, I prefer it when it's busy because I can work around it, as opposed to having an empty diary. I'm scared to put appointments in because I don't know if someone's going to make a booking, and then I would find it quite hard doing my animal communication if I was waiting for a guest, or there are certain times of the day that I would not be able to work because if I'm anticipating somebody coming and it's not great for the I need to know that I'm not going to be disturbed, let's put it that way. And when not knowing when I'm having bookings, of course I can't guarantee when that is. When I have a booking, I know when I'm going to be disturbed and I can work around it. So but I have finally sort of come round to this acknowledgement that actually the shed's a pretty good deal for me. I've got myself a cleaner, I've worked it all out. I know what I'm doing. I've had really good reviews. I've had really nice guests. It's actually not such a bad thing. And all the resistance I've had towards running a shed has been actually about other stuff in my life. And I have worked through it all. I'm now in happy acceptance, waiting to open my doors, let the money come in so I can get on and do the other stuff that I do enjoy, the animal communication, the soul level coaching. And I haven't got any bookings. So I'm not panicking yet because I've never had bookings far in advance, but I don't know what's going on, Julie. I don't want to start worrying about it, but there's a very real reality that my guaranteed income of 19,000 pounds isn't going to happen. Then what?
Yeah, then what?
Well, I'm not going to starve,
Right.
but it'll be disappointing.
So, okay, so there's a couple things that come to mind, and this is more coming to mind than maybe the guides, although there was one ping in there. So of late, you haven't wanted to do a whole lot, right?
Absolutely. And that is part of like this 2 weeks Gary's away.
Yeah.
I've been like, maybe I've been given this 2 weeks to do nothing.
Yeah.
Because even managing bookings as they come in still requires,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been
I have been wanting to do nothing for a long time. So why suddenly now? This is the bit I don't get.
Well, you've been wanting to not have to do a whole lot, and or when you've thought you've had to do something, you haven't necessarily had the energy to do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like your Mac, you had to rebuild your Mac, right? And there were other things I think you wanted to do, and I remember you saying something that you were just watching, not so much RuPaul, there was something else you were watching, right?
I've got a few courses that I really wanted to get to
but even
online
before,
courses.
wasn't there something else on Netflix or something that you were watching in addition to RuPaul? Wasn't there something else?
No, I've finished RuPaul. I'm actually quite at a loss, to be honest.
Queer Eye. I keep telling about Queer Eye.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I watched. There's a British thing about a young boy falling in love with his classmate, and it was really nice to watch, and I enjoyed it. But it was literally heart-stopping. Yeah, that was only. But disappointingly, when Gary's away and I'm sort of like, oh, I can watch whatever I want. I actually
don't turn it on. Yeah, I don't either.
Well, I'm turning it on, but it's all shit. I've actually been playing Colour Happy, which is a game I put on my mum's iPad to play with her And my
Oh,
mom's got dementia, and she does word searches. So I'd put a word search on the iPad, and we play it together.
oh, nice.
And I'd put happy color on, which is one of these ones that you get a picture and there's numbers and you select the bits and it colors it in, and they're just, it's brilliant. I love it. My mum didn't get it at all. It was too complicated for her, but I play it every day. So I actually sit with shit TV on playing color game. But no, I had a couple of courses I really wanted to catch up on, which was probably about 6, 7, 8 hours of videos that I wanted to catch up on, and I have one of them I have finished. I still have another 4 hours to go on the other one. But yes, I desperately wanted this time to do nothing, because when Gary's not here, although he doesn't judge me, I feel like he judges me. So I wanted, so yes, that there is that. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little bit scared now of, oh my God, I just took it for granted that I would be busy. And something's changed. I don't believe COVID, but I know there are hundreds of reasons, but law of attraction says that they are only factors if you let them become factors.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you were busy last year. We had COVID more so than.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think COVID has been good for my business because people couldn't go anywhere. And actually, most of the people that came were people from nearby. But now people from everywhere else can travel. So it just doesn't.
Yeah. So, okay. So there is the thing where you wanted to have, and you didn't want to do anything, and you didn't have the energy to do anything, right? So there is that. There, the thing that I got pinged on was this need to control stuff. And so law of attraction, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but law of attraction is if you have this need to control, the universe is going to give you stuff to try to help you loosen that need to control, right?
Well, okay, so law of attraction does not seek out to teach you a lesson. Law of attraction just happens.
Okay, then the universe just tries to help you grow, right?
Well, again, I think that's a spiritual way of looking at it, and I agree, but I think it's not by design, it just happens. In other words, if you have the opportunity to grow, but it's not that the universe sits there and goes, oh, I'm going to teach her a lesson. It's that so let's go back to the control. So what you're saying is, if I have a fear of not being in control, what I will.
I wasn't saying the fear of being in control. I was just saying something about control. I hadn't done anything more than that. So if you
Okay,
want to say it's fear for being,
I guess my point is, if I have a fear of not being in control, I will attract situations in which I cannot be in control. That's how it happens. It's not that the universe goes, I'm going to teach Kate a lesson. It's that my fear of being out of control will attract situations that will make me feel out of control.
Okay, so in that vein, then when you were talking about the shed and booking, and then the time it takes and all of that, and then you can't open up your diary to allow for intuitive sessions, whatever kind they are, because you have to do. So I think from what I've heard of Abraham, she would say that putting the emphasis on, I have to know when you're going to be here, shed people, because until I do, I can't do this. And you choke it off or pinch it off is what she always says, right? You pinch this off instead of just saying, I am open for business, regardless of what the business is. I am open for business. The universe knows what you can and cannot handle and will help direct things accordingly. There's just this I feel like for me, it's like giving up of control. Like when I see, I know we did an episode a couple months ago about when clients contact me, and this was on the marketing side of things, freelance marketing side of things, and they want stuff right away. Like I was interpreting, they want stuff right away, but the universe will actually make sure everything smooths out. Like, for example, too, I'm taking a trip today. I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep the car as long as I need to, so I could go to like all the things. And I just like, I give it up. Okay, I give up, universe. I'm going on this trip. I want to accomplish these 3 things. Help me. And now everything is lining up as far as who I can see, when I can be there, blah, blah, blah. But you have to like let it go, because for you to control prioritizing the shed first and then that's what's going to happen, right? So you have to just like, you have to let it
Oh
go.
my God, Julie, I just want to cry now, like out of nowhere.
Really? Oh, because is it a release? Does it feel like a release? You can cry. Can I say something else?
Yeah.
Because that need to prioritize still goes back, feels very much so from the guides, still goes back to that need that both you and I have talked about, and we both have, that need to demonstrate our worthiness, that we're contributing, right? And that constantly being busy and and that's also part of why like you not wanting to do anything is because you're freaking tired. And there is a lot of energetic stuff. There has been a lot of energetic stuff. We're going into another like frenzied time. Like you also need rest and relaxation too. So then you've got those two like fighting each other. And
yeah, definitely. And also, which I hadn't realized, because this is just a different form of it, and I haven't up until now, I guess my insecurities about whether I'm successful or not have all been about my intuitive stuff. And I'm sort of going, oh my God, maybe I'm not, maybe I've done something wrong, maybe nobody wants to come here, maybe I've made the wrong decision. Now I'm transferring all that onto the shed. And now it's like, oh my God, it never occurred to me I wouldn't be successful. It's like, I have been successful. I was successful, not without trying, obviously effort went into it, but actually I was instantly successful. And now I'm like, oh, geez, oh my God, have I failed? And that's what I'm worried about, is this fear. The fear of failure is going to make me fail.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're standing in a low vibration, you're standing in a vibration of fear, you're standing in a vibration of failure, which there really is no such thing.
But I didn't have this feeling until the bookings didn't come, if you know what I mean.
Right, but you were also, but when the bookings were coming, then you started to feel overwhelmed and oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then you also got energetically, you've been energetically needing to take a rest for a while, like from January 1st onward, if not before then. And until that aspect is actually honored, how it feels to me, until that's actually honored and taken care of, the universe is going to keep trying to help you find ways to do that so that you can do it, if that makes sense. Like until you actually honor the rest and get the rest, I feel like, because it has your back, right? The universe has your back. So it's going to, not to take Gabby Bernstein's title of her book? Mm-hmm. But until you honor it, it's going to keep serving you ways for you to honor it, if that makes sense. And I feel like ultimately you, in a space of meditation and in a space of where you're happy, so whether it's out with the chickens or hanging out with Sally, something that raises your vibration, in those opportunities, that's when you begin to formulate, what do you want, and reshape what you actually want for Kate.
That's a tough one, because I'm not sure I know.
Yeah, see, and the only reason I say this is because I keep finding myself in, what is it that I want? What is it that I want? And I'm trying, like, I don't want to define it so that I pinch it off, but I want to And I don't want to have like a goal that if, I don't want the goal itself to pinch off, like, as if I say like, I want X amount of dollars a year, well, then I'm limiting, and I could be way open, so I'm trying to like formulate that myself too. But I do catch like when I do it, when I have these thoughts, and the meditation part, like I've increased the amount of time I meditate a day. I do walking meditations in addition to quiet sitting meditations. And I just try to like love, and just like you were coaching me last week outside of making light, like love love that. Like I was angry at the moment. So it's like, love the anger, ask the anger to just sit over there and give it a kiss. Like you still love the bad stuff too. And that helped considerably, by the way, Kate, considerably.
So if I apply that to myself, I actually have to acknowledge this fear, because I'm trying to just
love the fear. I see you, fear, and I see you, fear, and I acknowledge.
I respect your power.
I respect your power.
And now you go sit over there.
Yeah, give it a little kiss and set it down, just like you told me with the anger. Yeah.
It was like my friend Louise, brilliant therapist. I'll put her in the notes, and she'd said that, like, just sit down next to it. I just think that's such a good expression. It's like part of, maybe not so much you, but certainly with my energy healing, there is this desire that when I come across emotions or that, it's like to heal them, to fix them, to confront them, to that. And she's like, why can't you just sit down next to it? Why maybe it's okay. That you don't have to fix. It's not always appropriate to fix.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, okay, so I am afraid of failing in a completely different way. Up until the shed was open, I was terrified that it just wouldn't work because we had problems with the builder. I mean, it's been a struggle from the day that I opened it. Then when I got the guests, actually it was fine, but then I had all my internal struggle about, well, how am I going to, build another business when I've got to do this and I've got to do this? And then I've sort of worked through all of that, and now I'm like, fuck, now I've got what I wanted and nobody's coming. And yet it's ridiculous to think that if I've been full for 2 years that suddenly I'm not going to have any customers. I don't know, if it doesn't matter. That's the point, isn't it? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to starve to death.
Right.
I'd be embarrassed. Maybe this is about ego.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, right. Because to me, like when it's fear, there is ego. Because we have nothing from a spiritual perspective, love or fear. Those are the two things, right? And when we're in a place of love, we're beginning to become aligned with spirit and higher vibration. When we're sitting in a place of fear, and this is in general terms, when we're sitting in a place of fear, we're aligned with ego. Because Abraham Hicks is also, you can find podcasts, right, of her, and then they switch. So there's two that I found right now that are almost daily. But one thing that she keeps saying is, we have so much abundance now. And I mean, she's talking to people that are paying to attend her seminars. They're on cruises with her. I mean, so there's abundance there, right? That they're even able to be in the room with her. That's an abundance thing. But even for me, like when she says that, I'm listening to her on an iPhone. I'm in a house. I have nature around me, and I know I at least have a can of soup in the cupboard. I'm not going to starve. And I have my mom and dad nearby. So if I absolutely needed something, I have abundance. But yeah, I have to think about it in those terms, like, oh yeah, I might have to ask for help. That's a big one for me. Like, I don't want to ask for help from a financial situation. But I actually just did. I asked my parents for help with putting up our new fence, because just a cash flow. And it's been, but it's how do I want to say it? It's having those conversations with the universe, with yourself, higher self, when you're in a state of alignment. That's the key. So if you're looking at stuff going, why don't I? It's all getting clouded. There's like all this happening. That makes sense. But I know you know.
What will be interesting, because I see that Amazon have just told me it will arrive today. I have bought myself a sad lamp.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Um,
I call them
I'm
happy lights.
happy light. I like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, so part of this program I'm doing at the moment, the Energy Blueprint, where I'm working on my circadian rhythm to begin with, and that involves getting lots proper sleep and stuff like that. But they do recommend that in places like Scotland that you absolutely, if you have an issue. So I bought like a really cheap one. It was only like 16 quid on Amazon. But the issue is it's literally like that, sort of like this wee tablet. And you have to sort of sit with it like that. You could.
Off to the side. Yep. I have two, by the way. Yep. Mhm.
So I have to sort of almost be at a desk to use it effectively, and you have to have your eyes open.
Well, okay. So my experience, I've had them in my offices at work. I also in Alaska, where we have more darkness in the winter, I would actually have it in the kitchen so that when we got up and made coffee, and it was still dark because it would stay dark to about 10:30 in the morning, I'd get up, make coffee, at least, even though I might, because you don't want to look right at it or stare right at it, but you have exposure to it. And so I had it in a place that like it was a little higher, but at least it illuminated also the room in addition to regular lights. So it's not, and you don't have to like, it's not like getting a tan. You don't have to sit there and have the sun hit you the same way.
Well, it needs to get in your eyes, apparently,
Yeah.
because that's where the receptors are. But the point being that, unless I have a floor light and I move it around with me, I actually need to, what has occurred to me, because he says you should do it in the first half hour of when you get up. So what occurred to me is I have wanted to do automatic writing about stuff, because it works every single time for me. It has worked whenever I've had an issue, like about getting the cleaner for the shed, and I was all freaked out about that, and I would just sit and write about why I was going to get a cleaner, because everybody wants to come and clean my shed because it's a beautiful shed, and everybody who's worked here loves it, and I'm a good employer. It's really beautiful here, just all these reasons, and every single time everything's just worked. So I was thinking, if I have to sit down for 20 minutes with this happy light on and do that first thing in the morning, perfect. This has forced me into a regime that I've been trying to do. So I will, starting today, day 1, day 2, day 0, sorry, because tomorrow's day 1, I will start writing about my abundance.
Yeah. And if you're feeling low, when you're feeling low, say you get up and you start and you're like, ugh, just say, what do I need to know for my greatest and highest good, and let it flow from there.
What do you want? Because this is what I get stuck with. I mean, right now, I want the shed bookings coming in but that's all feeding my ego, right? That's because I believe, that I need to be earning a certain amount of money. I've invested all this money and it hasn't paid for itself yet. So that's all my ego. When I actually get to, yeah, but what do you actually want? I get stuck, Julie, because I love the animal communication. I love the coaching. Yep. I enjoy it when I do it, but I don't sit around going, I really wish I had a client in 5 minutes. Do you?
No, I just know that I really love it. And so every time I have a reading, at the end of the reading, once I've disconnected and everything, I thank the universe and my guides for bringing me that client, and it made me feel great. And I love how I feel, and can I please have more? And I feel so wonderful when I do animal communication or intuitive coaching sessions, because for a lot of reasons, I just feel great.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I do freelance marketing. And what I'm actually finding is that I'm enjoying putting websites together for other people. I'm having fun. It's a creative outlet that I never knew I possessed. And I'm having a blast doing it. I just am asking for help in balancing I'm asking for help to balance the time, and I'm hands off, and they will help me as they will. Because you also helped me with the finance aspect. Like I was freaked out however long ago about money, and having, not because I'm used to paying my credit card. We put everything on credit cards. We pay them off every month. That's how we do it. But I was getting nervous as this house was coming into all the things were happening. We were putting more on the credit card, and you were like, it'll be fine. Just, you have debt. You have the ability to take credit. You've earned that. Allow it to happen. And so through that, I've slowly, right? It takes time. And I'm not there. I'm not great. I'm not perfect at it by any means, but just being able to like, oh, look, and allowing things to take place that help me pay off those bills every month. Do I have a large savings account? No, it's actually gone, but that's okay, because at least right now I'm able to pay the bills. And in that, I am grateful. And then I'm like, thank you very much. I'll take more. I would love to have more, and we'll see what happens. And I have to let it go. I have to do that, to the point where I actually almost missed paying a bill because I let it go so much. I almost missed paying a bill last week. Do you know what I mean? But it's a shift of oh my gosh,
Right.
gosh, to
So I know this is my ego, but it still was. But
Yeah.
it's like for me, I'm going, yeah, but what has changed between now and this time last year? I should be more open, more abundant, more everything, and like I don't understand what's changed.
Has the rest thing changed? Have you, it feels very much a component of this, feels very much like you haven't quite addressed your need for rest and prioritizing rest. And this, because you, like, I'm being reminded of like a recent email where you were saying something. Oh, we talked about laziness. What am I talking about? We had an episode about laziness because we were all worried about being lazy. So there's still that, like, do you feel like you've completely addressed putting yourself first, taking care of yourself?
No, because if I'm honest, Julie, I'd still rather do nothing. I'm loving doing less.
Yeah.
And I am doing less and less and less. And, you know, other than a nagging guilt, I must admit, I got bored with, but that's because I don't know what to watch anymore because I've run out of RuPaul, you know, but it doesn't make me want to get up and go for a run. It just makes me want to find something else to watch, you know.
Yeah.
You know, this is the thing about like, what do you want? I don't, and actually, if I'm honest, that's why I'm on the energy blueprint. It's like, again, another course of so much information. Like, I don't want any more information. I don't want more to do, but there's a bit of me that goes, well, you know, maybe this is hard for you because actually you're not working with the same amount of energy as other people. Maybe you need to honor that and give this a go. And I was actually going to ask you about it, see what the guide said, but actually it's a 30-day money back guarantee. So if I'm not fucking hopping around in 3 weeks, I'll get my money back. There's nothing that I can learn here that isn't of benefit to me. I mean, it's already helped, you know, having the bedroom really dark and that, but yes, I had sort of said to myself, I need to prioritize my health, in the sense of I'm far more likely to be buzzing around with exciting things to do if I feel well, and I don't feel unwell. And actually, you know, this is another of these things that, you know, I feel guilty because I'm not, you know, and I speak to Maria when she'd never complained about her health, but she was so debilitated. And the other lady that when we used to speak, the three of us, and she had lots of other chronic conditions, and I'd be like, you know, it made me feel really guilty. That's not the right word, but you know, it's like it's not life threatening for me, and it's not, it doesn't stop me doing things. But then I think, well, it does stop me doing things because I just don't do things. Like I don't want to go on holiday with Gary because he's gonna fucking march around New York at 50 miles an hour, and I can't keep up, and then I'll hurt for days, and then I'll get miserable and we'll fall out because I'll have backache and leg ache, and I ache like I've been pushed through a mill if somebody makes me walk too quickly, you know. And even we just started walking. He was trying to get fit for going away, just walking around, just a 40-minute walk around the village. He says he'd do it in 10, obviously, if it wasn't for me being so slow. But you know, it hurts. And I, you know, even knowing that I'm unfit, it's like I shouldn't hurt like this after, you know, all of this. Anyway, my point is, I was sort of like, well, why don't you try this then? Why don't you accept that maybe you do have chronic fatigue, albeit not debilitating, but enough to take the spark off your life? Try this program, see what happens. If it doesn't make any difference, then, you know, it's this idea that maybe I'm not just a lazy cow. Maybe there is more to it. Maybe it's not a level playing field. It's like the whole diet thing. I just assume that I'm the same as everybody else and I'm lazy. You know, it doesn't come easily to me to go, well, do you know what, Kate, maybe you're not. maybe you don't have the same energy that other people do. Maybe that's something you need to honor and see what happens. And long story. So I'm doing that.
Maybe you need to get the other people out of your frame of reference and only focus on Kate. Who gives a shit however people feel? It doesn't, and just,
it's the unworthiness, isn't it? Do I deserve more than this? And you know what? I do, because I want to feel good, and there's no reason why I shouldn't feel good other than I just don't feel good, and I don't know why I don't feel good.
Yeah. What does Kate need? What makes Kate's heart sing? What, who cares if we're all, we're all different, and we all have things going on because of we're different, and we have different experiences because the divine wants to understand. I thought about this the other day. The divine has everybody doing different things, so the divine can have that experience on so many different levels.
Has to be different, yes, otherwise life would stagnate.
Yeah,
I read that as well, and in a different context, but that's exactly it. If you weren't unique, there'd be no, life would just all travel into it would go into a disappearing point.
Yeah,
you've got to have differences.
Yeah, I was thinking of it in terms of languages, like, because I'm listening, like there's so many birds, and every bird has a different song and different calls and all these things, and I'm like, gosh, there's all these different bird sounds. Oh my gosh, there's all these different human languages. Well, yeah, and the divine understands it all. We don't, but that's okay. But that's how the communication, and just amazing, which makes me think, well, of course we're all connected then. So why would I be upset with somebody that has an accent? I'm not, but people around that I know get upset with people who have accents. It's like, who cares? But I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. Anyway, everybody's different, but that's the amazing thing. And that's the part, hopefully we can somehow get to point human wise, but who cares if Maria had more debilitating in your mind? You have just, she may think you were more debilitating, but who cares? It doesn't matter. As long as Kate puts herself first, what makes Kate happy? And from there.
And Kate's not really sure. I have snippets of things, but
your chickens. Start with something small.
I don't know. With the pheasants, did I tell you about the pheasant and that because he was really badly limping, and I've been healing him, and he's fine. It's fine now. And actually, Mabel, the female, came back as well, and she's so funny because she runs everywhere. It's like watching them, because he was hobbling at the time. He hadn't quite healed, but he does a lot of standing around, and she's like, and you just think it's just like, I'm sorry to generalize, but it is, isn't it? It's like the man's sort of standing and the woman's cleaning this and doing the washing up and dusting as she goes and getting the washing on and everything. Mabel's just like that. She's like, and he's just like going, what, and then he just crows and says, look at me, I'm beautiful. He's beautiful. Yes, okay. I'm going to use this time, my happy light, to what?
Do you want to know?
Accept.
You're supposed to spoon feed.
Hey?
I'm not supposed to spoon feed.
I see, then I get stuck in it. What do I want? Because I can work on abundance or ease. But see, that's the thing.
You're not in a space yet to do that. So why not just ask, what do you need to know for your greatest and highest good? Just start there, day one. Right?
Yeah. As Abraham says, go general until you know. Because this is what worries me. It's like I know that I understand the importance of focus, but I actually don't know what I want. I just know what I don't want, and that is a fear of not having an income. That's it.
Okay, so then you want an income.
Or I felt all that resistance come up, because immediately inherent in that is work, and I don't really want to work.
Not necessarily. So so you enjoyed, I'm assuming you enjoy making like two humans being.
Love it. I love it.
You want to have an income, right? There is a way that at some point there's revenue to be made. Thank you, listeners, watchers.
Okay, so that worries me, Julie. So when we have 1 million viewers and they try and monetize us, are you going to be happy with that? Because I'm not sure I would.
Why?
because you don't get to choose what they advertise. There's nothing more annoying than watching something and then an advert comes
Our
up.
esteemed viewers can hit skip ads.
I must admit I have issue with that, which I might need to get rid of, because we're going to be fucking huge.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's holding it back.
Huh? What?
That's what's holding it back, is Kate's fear of YouTube monetizing it and having to choose the adverts.
Yeah. And who knows, by that time, it might be completely different. Who knows? We're not in control. You want to make it, like, I'm just giving an example. So anyway, I'm just giving an example. You love doing this. So, and you want to have an income. So help, maybe at some point that marries, who knows? Or the shed is so popular, you're able to hire somebody who just handles the administration, meaning they manage the booking and all that. Like a little side hustle for somebody.
Yeah, I'm actually all right doing that bit of it, and that's why I guess this has shocked me, is I have realized that actually, once I get that the fear that I was feeling is nothing to do with the shed, the actual admin I have to do, it does get busy, but I can manage it.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken the cleaning and the washing was done by someone else. That's the bit I really didn't like.
Yeah, and you found something to do that. Yeah.
You know, but that's why I guess I'm just a bit confused as to why this is happening now.
Why? What is happening now?
Why I'm suddenly getting no bookings. Like, well, I feel that I have resolved my issues around the shed.
Oh, yeah. Mm-mm.
So it's really nothing to do with the shed. This is just about needing a rest.
It's about needing a rest, but it's also about the control, and it's about all of it. I mean, it's like they're all tied together, because you need the rest. And then but then when you're not resting, then you worry. So then you put control on it. So then when you control it, then you can't rest. Like, you've got these, to me, they're intertwined. So as you slowly intertwine them, you have some steps. You have your happy light. You have the automatic writing with your happy light. You have getting into places of happiness, and from there thinking about what it is you want, and prioritizing Kate's need for rest right now. And then when those things start to flow, as they will, then the next things come up, because we know that this is an ongoing process and there is always crap to deal with until we die. And then we get to do it all over again. Right? Does that make sense? Or
it does. It does. The part of me wants more spoon feeding instruction, but I think it's the acceptance that I have to come to, that whatever happens, happens. I can only make myself feel good about myself. I can't control any more than that.
No, and when you put yourself first, things begin to flow. So you have,
I feel like I am, but maybe there's still some layers of resistance there.
The only other thing I would say is that the TV watching is not helping you, for two reasons. One, it's additional screen time. So if you're having trouble sleeping and you find like computer time and whatnot, and the amount of exposure to screens, is that amount of screen time is not helping you right now. It's not right now. It doesn't mean you can't go back to it.
I don't really watch that much at all at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, so that's one thing. So I don't know however much you can be outside, feels like, even if
it's shit weather again.
Oh,
I need to move to the Bahamas.
Yeah. So yeah, you have a happy light.
Yeah, no, it's really cold and windy and horrible again. Just
yeah, it finally got hot. Like you can see, I'm like in my little, got a sheen. It's hot. Yeah.
Wow, I've got a heating on and a fleece.
No.
Cold here. Yeah, it's got really cold.
Yeah. So, but the fresh air and whatnot, and and meditation helps too. Your automatic writing is good, and then meditation, if you can do that in addition to.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Every day. I usually fall, the last few weeks or few days or other go away, I just fall asleep on the couch after meditating for another hour or so. I don't know that's good for me.
That's great for you.
Well, is it? Because that's like just after I wake up, so I don't know if it's messing with my circadian rhythm.
If you just need rest right now, don't try to control when you rest. Right?
enough.
Another element of control. Allow yourself, when your body says that's it, then rest. Because that's another thing, like we aren't built for the world we've created biologically. And I don't care. There's so much research about how multitasking doesn't work. Getting less than 8 hours of sleep on average, depends, you 7 to 9, whatever, depending on the human being, because we're all different. We don't function. This go at physical speeds, as well as the amount of time information comes in. We're not built for this. And until we learn to rest, it was just becoming nutty, as we all know. So we have to listen to our bodies. And when they tell us now, go sleep now, then we need to, and not, I can power through this. There's no powering, because the body will shut off at some point, as you know, we both know. So, yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome. I hope that was helpful. Yeah. Well, that was the latest episode of Making Light Two Humans Being. We were talking all about law of attraction, there's a Freudian slip, law of attraction, the need to control, the need to rest, the need to all these things, and just be happy. How do we even get to be happy? So that was our latest episode. We really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. You can hit the little bell so you get notified every time there's a new episode. We try to do them weekly. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and all the show notes are below where you can find even more information. And we really hope to see you next time. Thanks again for being here. I'm Julie here, and with me as always is Kate Fago. See you next time.